you are definitely in the right place. So before you go anywhere, please hit the like and subscribe button below so that you can stay updated. Hey, hey. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in to Tell the Truth, Shane the Devil podcast. I greatly appreciate it. Um, First of all, if you have not hit the like or the subscribe button, please do so below. Hit the like button and the subscribe button. And you can also hit the bell for notifications just in case there's a moment where I post just because, whether it's a short or if I'm late, whenever I go live from the podcast. Today's topic, I would say last week I got an email and a topic request on last episode when I went live, from Tell the Truth Shane the Devil's podcast. I had the request of the topic being about domestic violence. Since so much is going on in the world today and just in life in general, I decided to allow today's episode to be called Ending Domestic Violence. Yes, I have my notes. First of all, what is domestic violence? Domestic violence is violence or aggressive behavior within the home, typically involving the violent abuse of a spouse or a partner. Domestic violence is not always escapable. Sometimes domestic violence can have a very bad and sad ending. That is the harsh realms of domestic violence. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to just talk about whom is affected by domestic violence. Domestic violence affects a lot of people. It does not only affects the victim, it affects the children, it affects the parents, the friends, the siblings, or the relatives, or just those that are close to the victim. And first and foremost, before we go further, let me make sure I remind you guys, Tell the Truth, Shane the Devil's podcast. We do not speak on anything, or I do not speak on anything again unless I have been through it, unless I know someone who has personally been through it and given me permission to discuss it, although I would never throw their names out unless I have that permission or unless they are a guest on the show. But again, we will go back to the people that's affected. There are so many people that is affected by domestic violence. What can be done if you are ever in a situation such as domestic violence? There's a lot of things that can be done when you're in a situation such as, and I guess because, like I said, I don't speak on anything unless I've been through it or unless I know someone else who has personally been through it. And myself, yes, I have been through it. I know I don't look like what I've been through, but yes, I have. And growing up, and if my mom was here, she wouldn't mind me discussing this as well. Growing up, I saw my mom go through situations such as domestic violence. And as a young girl, as a young mother, I always told myself, that'll never be me. No, not me. I don't know why she's going through this and that and she's not putting an end to it, or she's just putting up with it, or she's just letting it happen. He's doing this and that to her, such and such and such. Let me just say, you can never say what you will and won't do unless you are in that situation yourself. I can honestly say that I ate my words. Everything I said I wouldn't do or go through, yes, I have endured. I have been through it. And domestic violence just happens to be one of them. I am no longer ashamed to talk about it. I am no longer allowing it to get the best of me. You get what I'm saying? Because for one, it's the past, but I've overcame it. So when the question is, what can be done if you are ever in that situation, I can only tell you from experience what I did when I was in that situation. First and foremost, it is kind of normal for the victim to just not tell anyone. Some may say you was keeping it a secret, or you was just hiding it, or whatever, but come on, be logical, be for real. Who just wants to go and boast and brag about being a victim of domestic violence and domestic abuse? Because let's not just forget that abuse comes in different forms. You can be abused in so many different ways. You can be abused verbally. You can be abused emotionally, physically. So there are sexually. There are so many different ways that you can be abused. Domestic violence has to do with physical the majority of the time. And again, a lot of times the situation does not end pretty. So again, no one wants to boast and brag about, hey, I'm in a domestic violence situation, or I'm in a domestic abuse relationship, or whatever. So for the foremost, a lot of times we hide it. I hid it. I come from a large family. I have brothers, I have a sister, I have tons of relatives. I come from a large family. So, and I'm the oldest for the foremost, especially on my paternal father's side, my paternal parents' side. But I am the oldest, so of course, you know, I care about my image. I care about my image anyway, because I deal with the public, I deal with people on a regular basis. So I hid what I was going through very well. And at the time, I was going through some hard life experiences, or whatever. I hadn't recently lost my mom. So to me, I was going through a humbling experience. And that's when I went through all of that. For the foremost, I hid it because I guess it was something different, something that I had never been through before. So I think I was trying to grasp what was happening. It was happening so fast to where I really just couldn't get a good grips of it, or whatever. And it happened more than once. I can honestly say that. Enough was enough for me. And enough, it was enough for me when I wore the bruises. The bruises at this point, they were noticeable. The bruises at this point was everywhere. They was everywhere. My children, they were home. However, they was outside. They weren't on the inside, so they did not know that, you know, that had taken place. Eventually they did, but the bruises was just ridiculous. So eventually, and it was so bad, it had got to that point. It was so bad too, I had to say something. I had to tell not just those that I care about. I had to open my mouth and say something to those that I knew care about me, and which was my sister first. But once I shared that with those that cared about me, they listened to me. They were not judgmental at all. So my advice to you would be, communicate with someone. That does not mean go around and just tell everybody that, hey, I'm a victim. But do find someone that you can communicate with. Whether it's a pastor, whether it's a friend, whether it's a relative, or a co-worker, or, you know, just someone that you trust, for one. Someone that you know is not judgmental, for two. And someone that you know, for three, that would not go and just tell Joe Blow, Susie Q, okay? Yes, I said Joe Blow Susie Q. Make sure you tell someone that. It's just not quick to go around and tell everybody. Because there are some things that you do want to stay personal. However, there are some things that you can't just keep to yourself. You have to seek help. And help comes in different forms. I also would like to also tell you guys another thing that I did. Once I told a couple of people, I made it up in my mind that the last time was the last time. I made it up in my mind that the last time would not happen again. I made it up in my mind that if it happened again, I knew the steps that I was going to take to make sure that person was suffering the consequences behind it. You do not want to be anybody's punching bag. You do not want to just eat up and suck in all of the negative words that someone has to throw at you and verbally abuse you. You do not have to allow anyone to take advantage of you and sexually abuse you, mentally, emotionally. You do not have to allow anyone to abuse you. So my thing was, enough was enough. So my advice on that would be, get to the point where enough is enough. Ask yourself, how long am I going to put up with this? How long am I going to endure this? How long am I going to give my energy towards this? How long am I going to do this? Because if you do not put an end to it, sometimes it does not end beautifully, okay? Sometimes you're not able to walk away. Sometimes you do not have that option, because sometimes that option may get taken from you. So if you're ever in that situation and you just have no one, you don't trust anyone, there is a domestic abuse hotline, and that number will be placed at the bottom of the screen. There is just an abuse hotline, and I will make sure you all get that number before I end the podcast. It will be placed at the bottom of the screen at some point. How can you help someone who is a victim of domestic violence? You can help them by being a safe haven. What do I mean about being a safe haven? Be a refuge for them. Be someone that they can run to. Be someone that they can run to if they need to run away. Be someone that they can run to if they just need to talk, need to vent, need to cry it out, or need an opinion. Be their safe haven. Listen to them. If someone comes to you and they feel comfortable enough to express to you and to share with you the abuse that they are going through or enduring, listen to them. Sometimes it's better to be quick to listen than to talk. Sometimes that's more important than anything, to have a listener than a talker. So just listen to them. Be non-judgmental. When I was in the situation I was in, I did not need anyone around me that was saying, "I told you so." I did not need anyone around me that was questioning, "Why are you still with him? Why haven't you left?" Why? I did not need a judgmental person. I needed someone who was non-judgmental. I needed you to just see what it is that I'm saying, see what it is that I'm going through, see and feel what it is that I'm enduring, so you can just help me. Sometimes we don't know how to ask for help, but we ask in different ways. But when a person cares and when a person pays attention to you, sometimes there are just certain things you cannot hide. But be non-judgmental. Now, we are going to talk about the statistics, because I like to speak facts to you guys, okay? I like to speak facts too. So I looked up the 2024 statistics of domestic violence, right? And I have the top three. The top three I have is Georgia. And you guys, I am from Georgia. Georgia, the violence against women is 37.4%. And the violence against men is 30.4%. Excuse me. Montana, the violence against women is 37.2%. And the violence against men is 34.6%. Pennsylvania is 37.1% against violence against women and 30.4% violence against men. So Pennsylvania is kind of like, we're all in neck to neck. We're all in the 37 point something percent. The violence against men is in the 30s point something percent. Now I know you guys are saying, you mean domestic violence against men? Sure. Sure. There are men as well who suffer from domestic violence. It's just not as many cases may be reported as the cases of women. Men are and were made to be muscular and masculine. They were, so many of them were taught to not sound like a wimp. Oh, you let that girl hit on you? Oh, you let that woman hit on you and you really crying? You really telling somebody? You really letting that woman abuse you? Yes, yes, men suffer from domestic violence as well. Not all men tell. Some men are in a relationship or in a marriage or a courtship with a woman that likes to become irate. Some are or could be in a relationship with a woman who may be dealing with mental illness or habits or something of the sort. Something that causes them to be quick-tempered to where they react. And when they react, sometimes women cause damage and a lot of harm. So yes, men too suffer from domestic violence, you guys. So I wanted to come on and I wanted to speak on domestic violence. I wanted to share that with you guys because so many people are suffering from domestic violence. We are losing those that we love, those that we care about. We are losing co-workers to domestic violence. We all know someone who has lost a loved one to domestic violence. We all know or have been a victim of domestic violence ourselves, or we just know people who are and probably still are suffering. But whatever it is, I pray that you guys find a way out. I pray because it will only get worse. It won't get better. I'm sorry. It will get worse before it gets better. Sometimes you can have a significant other to say, I won't do it again, and don't do it again. However, that is very slim. The chances to that is very slim to none. If they'll do it once, they'll do it twice, 3 times, and continue to do it. So if you find yourself being a victim of domestic violence, I pray that you find the strength to overcome. I pray that you find the strength to endure what it is that you're going through. And I say that because sometimes when a person is a victim of any type of abuse, they find reasons to blame themselves. They again could be like I was, just trying to come to grips with what is really happening before my eyes. Like, if it's, especially if you have never been through it before, you're trying to figure out what is really happening. And a lot of times we blame ourselves. We blame ourselves and for the actions of others, when I can tell you guys, if you are a victim of any type of abuse, I ask that you do not blame yourself. You do not blame yourself. A lot of times those that are doing the abuse came from abuse themselves. And however, you know, you can easily say, well, if they went through the abuse, then why are they abusing someone else? Well, it's a learned behavior. It's sad, but true. It's a learned behavior. There's a lot of negative things that goes on in the world that we have witnessed or we have endured ourselves, yet and still inflict that on someone else. So I pray, you know, that you find the strength to endure. And when you find the strength to endure, you don't have those thoughts of wanting to hurt yourself or feeling worthless or feeling as if you are the reason behind the madness. Feeling as if you can't go on or you can't get out of it. I pray that you find that type of strength. That type of strength to just run. And when you do free yourself, do not look back. Do not revisit that situation or revisit that person or the courtship that you all were in. Do not revisit it, because again, if it happened once, it'll happen again. I pray for your sanity, because when you deal and face with any type of abuse, especially domestic violence, sometimes it plays a major part as well on your mental status. It can have you jittery. It can have you jumpy. It can have you with insomnia. It can have you with the loss of appetite. It can have you just feeling as if you're going crazy, or it can drive you crazy. So I pray for your sanity. I pray that you do whatever it is to keep your sanity. I pray that you're able to get out of it if you have kids. And the reason I say that is because your children, they will be affected. Again, I saw my mom go through it, and then I went through it. So, you know, certain things can be a learned behavior, or you're not taught to deal with certain situations, or you just don't know how to deal with certain situations because you never seen anyone else deal and cope with those type of situations. But it can be a learned behavior, so you don't want to allow domestic violence to, for one, take place in front of the children, if you can help it. However, I know you have no control over anyone else's actions. Not saying allow it to go on behind closed doors. Let me get that straight. That's not what I'm saying. I am saying do not, if you can help it, the fussing, the fighting, and carrying on in front of the kids, it can, for one, it can also drive a child crazy. Screaming in the middle of the night, waking up in terrors or whatever, allowing someone to do it to them because they say, oh, well, my mama or my daddy let somebody do it to them, so it must be okay. So you don't want to do it in front of the children. You know, and that's why I say children can be affected. And people you love, again, can be affected, because those people that love you, when they know that you are in those type of situations, the first thing they want to do is go after the person that is hurting you. And I do not promote violence, so I do want to make sure that is known on my podcast. I do not promote violence. However, the people that love you, they are going to go after those people that's hurting you. And then what if they do something crazy? then now they're no longer free. They're no longer there to be able to live life with you and make memories with you and just continue to love on you. So it affects a lot of different people. So I just say that I pray that you just continue to just have the strength to get up, and ask for help, have the strength to just walk away, have the strength to walk away, because I would hate for something bad to happen to any of you guys, any of those that I love. I know how it feels to lose people that you love to domestic violence. So you guys, I just ask that you just get the strength to walk away. Before I go, I did get the permission of a few family members to acknowledge some of the ones that I know offhand and personally, and I do apologize to any of my friends, families, or my viewers whom I do not know offhand and do not call out personally. I do ask that you guys forgive me. However, I will definitely keep their names lifted up in prayers. I will definitely help you guys keep their name alive. And I do want to say fly high to those individuals. And also the names that I'm going to call out are women. However, I do want to say to the men that I know who have lost their lives by the hands of their partners, may you fly high. And the men names are not listed. They are confidential because I have not received permission from the family. However, I do want to send my best regards. But just for the foremost, y'all give me a moment. I do want to ask that you guys, my viewers, also just do a moment of silence with me in remembrance of the names that I am going to call out. And again, a moment of silence to the men that I know personally who have lost their lives as well in the hands of their partners. And again, you guys, I just want to do a quick moment of silence as I call out the names. Nita Winbush, fly high to Nita Winbush. My dear friend Shatika Brown, fly high to my friend, my dear friend Tika. Tressa Lee Frazier, to my big cousin, fly high. And to the mother of my lovely uncle, Mrs. Geraldine Shoemaker Hill, fly high queen, fly high. And again, to the men I know who has lost their lives by the hand of their partners, may you all fly high as well. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode of domestic violence. If you or someone you know are a victim of domestic abuse, there is a national domestic abuse hotline, and that number again will be placed upon the screen. Also, if you or someone you know are a victim or have been a victim of domestic violence and needs or still needs help, I ask and I pray that you seek help. And remember, you are a victim However, that does not end your story. The way your story ends or will end will be off of the decisions you make. So I ask that you remove yourself from any domestic abuse situations. I ask that you continue to pray for the strength to leave any domestic abuse situations. To my women and to my men who are or have been a victim of domestic violence or domestic abuse, I pray for you guys continued strength. May you all enjoy the rest of your day. May you all enjoy the rest of your night. And don't forget, if there is a topic that you would like me, myself, the Leo Goddess, to discuss, please feel free to send an email with the topic that you would like me to discuss, or to name one of my episodes in a short body in the email. Please send all emails to leogoddessspeaks@gmail.com. And may you guys have a wonderful day and have a good night.